For the past 13 summers, the nation's best comics and rising stars have gathered on Nantucket. The Nantucket Comedy Festival is a highlight of the island's summer scene as it benefits the Standup and Learn Foundation for local youngsters and provides a series of hilarious evenings. And now, in these challenging times, in the spirit of the festival, we gather a group of comics to provide some laughs, some diversion, and a dose this evening of the best medicine. Hi, folks.
How are you two?
Stand by.
Yeah, buddy.
Here we go once again, episode 5 of The Best Medicine. It's Thursday night, time to, in the spirit of the Nantucket Comedy Festival, have a little fun and take our minds off what's going on in the so-called real world. I'm Bob Lee, and welcome. Depending upon how you're looking at this screen, here we all are. Let's introduce the cast of characters tonight from Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. He makes his home in New York and often be seen opening for the great Ron White. Say hi to Tom Van Horn.
Tommy!
Hey, hello, everybody. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for dressing up, Van Horn.
In front of the very wall where Jake Rivera was shot. A woman who has not only performed in front of everybody from nuns to bikers, and has also won the Woody Herman Jazz Award for her trumpet player. Say hi to Carolyn Plummer. Hi, Carolyn.
Hey.
Hey.
How's your armature?
Yep, my armature's gone now, though.
Oh, geez. All right. Another Philly boy who tore it up on the Nantucket Comedy Festival stage last summer. He is a man with countless TV and film credits, opening for Sam Kinison, and he's lived to talk about that. Say hi to Jimmy Schubert.
Bonjour. Bonjour.
And the executive director of the Nantucket Comedy Festival, a Connecticut squire who is quarantined in sybaritic luxury, Kevin Flynn. I'll explain those words to you later. Sit up, Clinty. Come on.
Look what's behind me. A beautiful map of Nantucket in my living room.
Pulpus behind me. You've got the actual map. All right, here we are about 5 weeks or so into this. We're into new routines, new habits. What's been the toughest thing to adjust to, Jimmy?
Really, absolutely nothing. I'm actually enjoying the quarantine because I travel so much anyway. I mean, I've been jumping on an airplane every week for like the last 30 years. I'm a traveling professional comedian. So for me to be at home, I love to cook. So, I've been cooking every day. I've been doing my 5-mile walks. I've been listening to books on tape. Trying to use this as productively as possible, because I think the people I'm writing, so I think you get you'll come out of this 2 months ahead as opposed to coming out 2 months behind, So I'm trying to be optimistic and look forward to coming out of this, which I hopefully will be sooner than later.
A male Irish Catholic kid from Philadelphia. He's cooking all the time. Oh, gee, invite me over. Must be so good.
Got news for you, bro. I'm a hell of a cook.
Are you really, Shuby?
Yeah, I absolutely. I made chicken scarpaiello the other night. I mean, I love going after stuff I made.
He doesn't know what it means, but he made it.
Well, no, I don't know the translation, but I stick my iPod on my refrigerator because it's got a magnet in it, and I just go to recipes and watch them. I mean, being able to cook in a quarantine will save you lots and lots of money. Most people getting Postmates, most people ordering food. That's going to run out. I mean, I go buy a bunch of food, and go after and tackle some of these things that I made these pineapple upside down pancakes the other day, where you grill with like a ring of pineapple and then dump the pancake batter on it and put a cherry.
Too much time on their hands.
Hey, at least I didn't shave my chest hair into a bat signal and dye it blue like some people. You hear about Tommy Esposito? What happened? He asked the D while he was in quarantine. Was he gay? No, he was just bored. He was just bored. Wanted to see what he's missing. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like some people are just losing their minds. If I don't have to watch another virtual comedy show from somebody's living room, I've seen these people in comedy clubs in front of a packed house on a Saturday night go down like Iraqi fighter pilots. What makes you think you're going to be any funny from your living room? The guy's wife just walked out of the living room in the middle of his virtual comedy show. Let's relax for a minute.
He spent
some guy doing 3 chords.
Off.
Some guy's doing 3 chords on his guitar. Like everybody's turning to Weird Al Yankovic Christ's sake. Everybody relax. It's only been 3 weeks. Read a book. Watch some documentaries.
Right. It's scary.
I mean, first off, Nostradamus predicted this, by the way, in his quatrains. In the year, the twin year, there will be a great place. When are they going to start listening to Nostradamus? He predicted World War I, World War II. He predicted Hitler, except he called him Hister. Or at least I hope he was talking about Hitler. I hope there's not another guy out there named Hister. He's going to make like Adolf Hitler look like Tony Robbins. You know what I mean? This guy's predicted this stuff. When are people going to pay attention?
You, by the way, Jimmy, do a fantastic Nostradamus. You nailed it.
I thought it was Quasimodo.
I also do an Abraham Lincoln. Now, do you want the real Abraham Lincoln or do you want the one from Star Trek? I do them both. Uncanny.
Yeah, but if Nostradamus was that good, how come he never won his village lottery ticket?
Yeah, that's true. You're right. You got a point there. Well, I don't think they had the lottery back then.
Okay.
Knows all, sees all. He knocks on the door.
Didn't pick the right number.
So, Carolyn, how you passing the time besides listening?
I'm not as productive as that. I'll tell you that.
Lost Flynn.
Don't take it personally. Flynn will be back.
No, I know he's got to get a drink.
Another one.
I watched a lot of TV. I'm done with that now. I'm on to reading books and just trying to stay busy. I try to keep a schedule because otherwise I'd go batshit crazy. It's just, it's hard to not, because I'm always going to a gig. So there's nowhere to go to. And that's what's really starting to grate on me. But, it's bad around here. So I'm staying home. I have a mask when I go to the grocery store. But I'm ready to get out and start socializing again.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. But I mean, I'm mentally ready, but physically.
We're all mentally ready.
Exactly.
Take Jimmy Schubert's motivational class. Where you
he's doing a lot.
And you listen to your
Hey, I'm a life coach. I got qualified to become a life coach during the quarantine, except I use a whistle on my people. Come on, get your head out of your ass.
I need that. That would be awesome.
My life coach uses a whistle.
Yeah, I like
I'm writing a book called Really Small Business Opportunities for Underachievers. That'll be out shortly. So, for a lot of people, it might be something you want to pick up.
Yeah, an SBA loan, yeah.
I think Van Horn kind of looks like a coach right now. It's like a coach slash.
I just got in from outside, man. I just delivered 2 pepperoni pizzas.
To who? Is that what you're doing now as a comedian? You're staying off the road, but you're delivering pizzas?
Yeah, you know how it is. You got to make money.
Well, hey, first off, a pizza is a lot like comedy. It's all in the delivery. It's all in the delivery, Fletty. You know that. He'll come out of it. He'll be sharp. He's been delivering stuff. It'll be sharp.
Exactly. You can't get any stand-up time. He'll do some pizza delivery time because it's delivery.
Right. At a distance. Crazy.
Who's streaming what here? Who's binging on what?
I'm watching Ozark.
I just finished Ozark.
Great show. About four episodes into the 3rd season. It's really good.
I
Carolyn,
can't believe Jason Bateman marries a man.
No idea what's coming.
I'll tell you though, I got to get Jason Bateman. Remember, he's been around forever, man. I got to give the guys kudos. These guys doing it. He's everywhere.
Yeah, he really is. He's a great actor, and he's done a lot of interesting projects over the years, and I think that's why he's had such a long career. I mean, that guy's a great actor.
And he's directing a lot now, too.
He was on Fresh Air last week with Terry Gross. He had his DGA card when he was 18.
Wow. That's great.
Because his father was in the business, and he was on sets and watching all this stuff. And father was taken into art houses at a young age. And by the time he was a teenager, he was performing, but he was understanding what made a good movie.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me, Bob, that someone who grew up in the industry in LA is actually going into the business?
That's right.
It's such a wow. That's like
growing up in Brooklyn and becoming a rabbi.
Nostradamus. Good story. It's Jimmy Schubert being from a family of cops, and he's got a Matisse in his background, and he's a comedian walking, listening to iPods every morning. That's a transition.
Hey, you want to watch a good dark show? The Outsider on HBO is good.
I watched that too. That was really good.
Was that good? The Outsider's good?
Yeah.
He was in that too.
He directed a lot of the episodes of that, and he's in it too.
Oh,
who's that?
Who?
Jason Bateman.
Oh, wow. That's
a couple of episodes.
There's a great show called Happy on Netflix with Chris Maloney, the guy who was on Law and Order SVU for many years, and he plays like the exact opposite of his character in SVU, and it's bizarre and it's offbeat and it's crazy. And man, I just started watching. I couldn't stop. It was great. Really,
What's that on? Because that sounds like something I'd like.
On Netflix. It's called Happy. And it's really, really offbeat. It's really well done directorially and story-wise. It's really interesting. And man, it's great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I'm not really watching a lot of TV. I mean, I don't even turn my TV on. Yeah. I don't even turn my TV on until about 9 o'clock at night just to watch a couple hours of.
Well, that's because you didn't pay your cable bill. But I mean,
no, I don't. Hey, dude, I got rid of my cable box years ago.
When his neighbor turns their Wi-Fi on.
No, dude, I got rid of my cable box years ago. Hilarious.
He has to wait for his neighbor to turn their Wi-Fi on.
Hey, to go back to The Outsider, though. To go back to The Outsider, I liked it. I enjoyed it, and I was, telling other people check out this show. And I called Jackie Flynn, our buddy Shuby, and he said he didn't like it. And I go, why? Because he had the book. Apparently it's a Stephen King book, and he didn't like it. That's one of the things. Like if you read the book, sometimes you don't like the movie. I love the show. I love the series. And
I didn't read the book.
Yeah, I like it when a movie's so good they make a book out of it.
Yeah, rarely happens though.
That's happened a few times. Is anybody sampling on HBO The Plot Against America based on the Philip Roth novel?
I just finished that.
The series?
Yeah, the 6-episode series.
It seems to get better and better as you get through it, and I've not yet read the book.
Yeah, I haven't read the book, but I just watched the series on HBO.
Would you recommend it, Carol?
I would recommend it. It's definitely along the lines of what's happening now. Yeah. It's like an imagined history if Charles Lindbergh had won the presidency.
Right. That's kind of like that one on Amazon where the Japanese and the Germans win the war. I forget the
Man on the High Castle, except they ran off the rails after the second season.
But it's really well done too. I would recommend it.
Yeah, they jumped the Fuhrer on that one. They jumped the Fuhrer in season 2. But,
you can't jump the Fuhrer. You can't jump the Fuhrer.
I rewatched with my son. My older son was the first season of True Detective. I forgot how good that first one was.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's really great.
Brilliant.
That's really great. I binge watched. I went back and there's a great documentary about the colorization. They got all this old footage from World War II.
Oh, yeah.
It's all in color, and that's phenomenal. It's got I think it's like 8 or 9 episodes of all the greatest events of World War II. I'm a history buff. I love stuff like that. I love documentaries about actual events, and that is as good as it gets.
What is that? What's that called?
I think it's called World War II in color.
Very big.
Early on your Netflix menu, yeah.
What's that?
Nailing it right on the head.
Nailed it right on the head. Right. When they were thinking of a title, they're like, "What do we call World War II in color?"
Yeah.
In killing color.
Yeah, it's a part comedy. They make it. It's in living color meets World War II. It's called World War II in living color, and they do a lot of sketches about it. It's hilarious,
especially Omaha Beach. What a funny!
That's some of Jim Carrey's best stuff in
it. Exactly. Well, a lot of tips tonight.
Jimmy, you go out and do your walking, Jimmy. And
what's that?
You go out and do your walking every day. I go out and I do the same thing, and it's amazing how the protocols kind of, without being spoken, establish themselves with people. Like I walk along the docks here at the marina, but there's only room for one person, and so you can tell whoever gets there first, you got to wait. No one's going to do one of these numbers. It's really interesting to see the way people have, without speaking, have adapted to these things.
Yeah,
is there a line of people waiting to walk on the dock?
What's that?
Is there a line of people waiting to go out on the dock?
You'd be surprised. You have people living on boats. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think people are, having the consequences and seeing the news reports. And people are smart enough to actually do that on their own. I think that, everybody's like, look, nobody wants to get this thing. The weather's getting warmer. I think people with social distance, obviously, it's the best defense against this thing. So, people are, obviously there's a group of people that want to go to casinos. You notice people jonesing because they can't bet on sports. People are betting on Belarus soccer matches. Although I think they stopped them. You know, the sports junkies are looking for anything to bet on. You know.
Did you see the mayor of Vegas on CNN the other day?
Boy, she's nuttier than a squirrel turd. That
She's
woman
the
is
wife
awesome.
of Oscar Goodman. Well, Oscar, if you saw the movie Casino, Oscar Goodman portrays himself. He's the mob attorney. I've dealt with this guy, and he portrayed himself in the movie. She is his wife, and I've interviewed her. She is out there where the buses don't run.
Yeah, she lost a few tiles on the re-entry. I mean, you know what? Look, I mean, now the casinos know how we all feel. You know, how do you like losing money, bitch? Huh? How you like it? You know, because I think it's going to create new cleaning protocols. After somebody gets up from the slot machine, you're going to have to spray it down and wipe it down. You know,
crazy. It really is.
Well,
You're like Jimmy. You're burping like you're digesting a steak and cheese sub from Geno's. For guys.
No, I just made an avocado turkey and cheese sandwich.
Right. Hey, guys, so with walking, there were too many people walking where I was walking. So what I started to do is when I walk, I take my pants off.
And cough a lot.
It sort of just kind of clears the path.
That alone should keep people away from you for about 3 inches. guys hung like guys hung like a nipple on a cat. You know, that's not really the social distancing protocols they were talking about. Plenty. He's hung like a button on a fur coat. Listen, Plenty, settle down. Come on, people. I got a button on a fur coat.
You know, the problem is you go to food shop, and I go to like some food store where they only let a certain amount of people in per minute or whatever. Yeah. But then when you get in there, you think it's going to be clear, but it's hilarious because then once one person starts standing there eyeing up the tomatoes, it's like a racetrack. People just start backing up into each other into the aisles.
It's so true.
Not really doing much, you know what I mean?
You're in New York City, Tom, so that's the hardest place to be right now, I would say. So
yeah, but you know, the other thing is too, it's like, you know, this virus gets spread by people talking and the spittles and the little spits and it's talking. And I noticed a lot of women just can't shut the fuck up. I'm sorry, this is PG-13, bleep that out. But I mean, they're just walking and talking and spittling. I'm going, patient zero. I'm going to choke the life out of you. Will you please, lady, you know, relax for a minute. Just, you know, easy on it. I don't need to know. Like, they're all in the middle of a soap opera. They can't stop flapping the cake hole. You know, I had to wait until they passed. Because if you just walk for a couple miles listening to that, it looks like you fought in the UFC for about 12 years. You look like you got a potato on the side of your head. Just shut up, lady, please. For the love of God.
Jimmy, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. You're not married, right?
Absolutely. You know what? Why? Why would I do that? Explain to me the upside. I have a great life. I travel the world. I make people laugh. I do what I want. No. Hey, let me get somebody else involved in this so you can bitch at me every year. The things I haven't done. And then when it doesn't work out, you get half my stuff. No. It's a bad deal. It's always been a bad deal.
Where were you?
They still do it. 68% of marriages end in divorce. In society, 72%. I mean, why would you do it? Really?
Where were you 25 years ago when I needed you, Pop? Is this the first time that an F-bomb's actually been dropped? I
was going to say, yeah, we are live, but it's, you know.
You mean Jackie Flynn didn't drop any?
No,
I'll be surprised if Jackie Flynn did drop
Jackie Flynn, I watched that. Jackie Flynn just talked about porn the whole time.
Pornhub. Yeah,
really?
The funny thing about Jackie was...
He said he had binged it and gotten to the end of it, I think is what
That's right.
He was like this the whole time in the camera.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Well,
And you guys share a hotel room on the road?
Always. It saves money. My God.
That was a weird episode. Flynn, Jackie was so close to the camera, and you look like this the whole time.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, as soon as the broadcast was over last week, I get a text from my mother talking about how tired I look and how awful the angle was and how I need a haircut and I didn't look very handsome.
But aside from that,
other than that, Mom, it went well.
We all need a haircut.
I will agree with Jackie Flynn on this. You know, I'm a hopeless romantic, and that's why I watch porn, because I like a movie where the guy gets the girl in the end, and then sometimes he gets her in the end.
It's like,
come on. Hey, listen, it's PG-13. What are you talking about? I wasn't doing nothing.
That is not PG-13.
It absolutely is PG-13.
That's R, dangerously close to X.
I got to tell you, though, my only thing with porn is I watched Dirty Debutantes 3 without watching 1 and 2, and I was totally lost. I didn't know what the plot line was.
Well, not a lot of people notice, but a lot of these porn stars are married. And just like every other relationship, they come back after, from work, and they're all, hey, honey, what's the matter? Another tough day at the orifice?
At the orifice. You couldn't even get that out, Jimmy. You couldn't get your own punchline out.
It's all right. It's all right. I'll do better next time. I knew what I was going to say.
You know what you have to do? You have to start delivering pizzas.
What's amazing is the whole time he's doing this, he has a casserole going in the oven.
That's exactly right. I actually just baked a couple sweet potatoes. I'm going to put some honey and some brown sugar on them a little bit later, and then, make that little tortellini with the meat sauce. I'm doing meal prep in the middle of a global pandemic. Talk about an optimist. I've done a 14-day meal. You may not make it past Friday. I'm doing meal prep anyway.
Am I the only one that's having to teach a kid, a fourth grader every day, or nobody else has kids?
Nope.
Wow. I'll tell you what, if this quarantine goes on for much longer, some of these moms that are doing homeschooling are gonna cure this virus. I'll figure out a way. These damn kids back in school.
Carolyn, a lot of, some men even, but a lot of women are complaining. The one woman on the Trump rally was complaining about her roots.
Oh, yeah. You can't see mine. My hair looks red, which it isn't.
Well, I actually thought that was your real hair. That's why I brought this up, because I said
this is my real hair. It's several colors now because I had an appointment right when they canceled everything. But it's pretty white now, so I color it.
I noticed that since we opened on quarantine, the beauty markets, the beauty shops have been closed for the nails and the eyelashes. Those selfies have dropped like the stock market.
Well, starting Friday, that all reopens in Georgia. If you want to go down there.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to chance it, but
well, even after quarantine's over, I'm going to stay home for a couple of weeks and see what happens to the rest of you people. I'm not taking any chances.
But you know what?
I saw that video. I think that was a Trump supporter complaining about the show roots, not her roots.
If I don't cut my hair during this quarantine, it'll be a quarantine miracle because it's driving me crazy.
Well, the one thing I couldn't figure out within Georgia was they opened up tattoo parlors.
Yeah.
That seems really stupid.
Yeah, that's really, you're just asking for, hey, not
you know what? The guy has the needle on a selfie stick.
What's that, Tom?
The guy's got to have the needle on a selfie stick for the 6-foot distance. I don't know how he's going to.
Well, to be honest, a lot of these states aren't like others, like Wyoming. I mean, the cases there are so minuscule. It's like, we get those places back together. I mean, not every state's the same. So,
I'm in there.
That's now.
What's that?
That's now.
Now.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying now. But some of these, they can start to go back because of the number of cases. I mean, people have been quarantined for a month now. Yeah. So let's not treat everybody the same. Obviously, New York got killed. All along that Excelsior border. Boston's having a tough time. Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., there are a lot, but as you move further west, the cases have dropped off immensely.
And they're more spread out, too. They're not as densely populated.
And I think they thought that this was so contagious that it would just be ridiculously contagious and there wouldn't be enough hospital beds or hospitals to treat everybody. And now it seems the numbers are going down now. It's not a chance to get cocky. Well, obviously, we're dealing with
the reason they're going down, though, is that people are social distancing. That's not because
I got news for you. That's not going to stop.
Yeah, I don't agree with the tattoo parlor gym thing, but I think if somebody has like a mom and pop hardware store, they should have their own responsibility to say, you know what, let one person in at a time, wear a mask.
Sure.
At least the guy can stay in business. Let two or three, just like that food store. Let them have some responsibility of taking care of their own shop.
And people will. I mean, people are smart. I mean, obviously, this is going to set new safety protocols for airplanes. They're going to have to wipe down all the trays and everything going forward. I mean, there's going to be protocols in place that, look, we've taken a lot of things for granted. we've taken a lot of things for granted, a lot of things that, now it's going to change things going forward, but probably for the better. I see families like riding bikes, and families are having dinner together now. And it's like we kind of went back to 1984. I think this is a hard reset for humanity. I think people need to appreciate all the little things I miss, like with my friends and have a laugh or having a drink or being able to just, those things, I miss, obviously I miss doing stand-up comedy, but I mean, that's going to be a while before that comes back, but just the little things, man. I miss my parents. I miss hugging my parents. All those things. It turns out the little things are actually the big things. And I think people have gotten complacent, and we've been mean to each other. All the negative comments on social media and all that stupid stuff. It's like just like that. All the sports stars, all the celebrities are irrelevant. It's the doctors on the front lines and the nurses and delivery guys and the farmers and people that keep the food supply lines going. And so just like that, it's insignificant. And I loved how they all came out and did karaoke. Like 2 days in, they're all the stars. They're not even singers. I go, that's what we need in the middle of a global pandemic. Free karaoke. Thanks for stepping up there, kids.
There's a piece out there on Twitter. There's a piece on Twitter that's brilliant. You can find it. You Google it. That shows how every COVID-19 commercial is the same. Have you guys seen it or not? Each one starts with somber piano music.
Oh, yeah.
They each use the same unprecedented times. They each say, we've been here since 1964, since 1982. And if you can find it, it shows that they're all trying to be first in line with "We care about you."
The prune people are on every night when you watch TV. The sunscreen prune people are really worried about our future during the COVID. They want us to stay safe.
I've never felt more important than to have all these CEOs send me emails letting me know how they're handling the COVID-19. I bought a backpack from you 4 years ago. All right? No, I don't care how you handle it. You're a backpack. I bought these socks, the compression socks, Boombas. And they go, here's how we're handling the COVID-19. I go, you know what? You're a sock company. I care less about how you're handling it. Why don't you worry about your socks? I washed them one time.
When do you seriously
slapped a couple googly eyes on it and give my nephews as hand puppets.
When do you seriously think comedy and clubs will come back?
Listen, I got news for you. After this, people are going to need to laugh. People are going to need to laugh.
Definitely.
Comedians will be busier than divorce lawyers after this. I mean, people are going to need to laugh.
But I'm talking about people being not afraid to come in and sit next to each other in a club.
Well, yeah.
Next to each other. That's going to be
you know what will happen. I think this is what's going to happen. I think in comedy clubs they may do social distance seating, so a club that seats 300 people may now only sit 150, which obviously is going to affect the pay, but you'll still be able to work and do it as what you love to do and make a paycheck. But I think social distance seating initially, and then they may go back to regular seating as they get a hold of this. But
so Jimmy, I was working with Jackie, and they said Jackie Flynn, and they said no more than 30 people in a crowd at a time, so Jackie can continue to work at the time.
That's because Jackie's not a draw. But yeah, he can continue to work. He's used to doing comedy for 4 people.
Carolyn,
Friday night second show.
Yeah.
Is there material in this to be mined when we do get back to entertaining people?
Absolutely. I think
Jimmy, name's not Carolyn.
Saying what I'm thinking.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I agree. I think it's not the same situation as 9/11, but it's the same. It's something that came quickly and impacted everybody so significantly that I think there's going to be a period where they're going to want to laugh, like Jimmy said. They're going to want to go out. They're going to want to do stuff, but there may be a little bit of a lull as far as what you can get away with and what people are ready to laugh about. But I definitely think that there's material to be mined from it.
Are you writing some stuff now?
I'm writing some stuff. I mean, when it's all over, it might not be as relevant, but there might be a way to incorporate it into
I disagree. I disagree. I think it's going to be relevant. I think this isn't like something that anybody's going to forget anytime soon. I think you'll be able to do jokes about this right up into next year because people will be reminded of it.
True.
I think it's not like a topical joke. Nobody's going to forget the fact we've been quarantined for a month I think there's a lot of stuff to come out of it though. But
I think there's going to be initially a lot of the same jokes that will peter out. You know what I mean? But the really creative stuff and the good stuff will stand up better over time than the obvious, really, mundane coronavirus joke.
I thought the 9/11 stuff because I was in Europe during 9/11, I get back home and the comedy clubs shut down for 2 weeks, and it was like, oh God, the clubs shut down for 2 weeks. And one of the ways we deal with terrible things is to joke about it and have fun. Nobody could figure out how to do it after 9/11. Everybody sort of was just licking their wounds, kind of assessing themselves as humans and everything else and what it meant to be. So, but it slowly started to come out. But even then, when we started to work in comedy clubs after 9/11, jokes, some, they were like Scud missiles. You threw them, you were just they were range finders. You were throwing out some comedy bits, and it was like, sometimes people were like, oh, it was like too soon, or you went too far. But eventually, I used to tell people about something like a tragedy, like the space shuttle blowing up. There was a civilian on there, a teacher. There were people,
we were watching it in school.
They were watching it. The girls, the woman's parents were watching, the teacher, Christy McAuliffe, I think her name was. And
Krista
McAuliffe. So there's nothing funny about that. But then we heard space shuttle jokes. And you start to say, well, this is how we deal with painful situations. We start to joke about it and we laugh about it in a free society. And I think
the marathon bombing was like that.
I mean, I think that, like, when we get out there, like, if you joke about people dying on respirators, you're not going to get a laugh. But for me, if I joke about having to teach my fourth grader for the last month and a half, that'll be good mining.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
With my wife, thank God the gun stores are closed. That kind of stuff, I mean? Like, that kind of stuff, you can get away with it because it's funny, it's relevant. But yeah, I think like 9/11, nobody really wanted to joke about the people actually getting killed. And I remember people trying to come up with bits around it. And like you said, Kevin, they were just shot down real quick. It was just.
Larry David won. That was, if you ever look up that episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, he got away with a 9/11 joke that had to do with mistaken identity, somebody who died in Midtown. And only he could pull that off. Anybody else tried to do that, because he's so against the grain of society anyway.
Right.
But what I do think the good thing that will come out of this is that PC culture, that's done.
Absolutely.
You really think so?
Absolutely. Because every comedian now feels how Louis C.K. felt. You can't perform, you can't tell jokes, you walk at people, they will start walking away from you. Like guys like that, it's like the cancel culture. It's like, he can never work again. And the universe went, yeah, hold my beer. Let me show you can never work again. It's ridiculous. Yeah. All that stuff is stupid. When you're talking about survival of the species, which is what they're trying to, fix, is we could get white. Look, there's a lot of things that can kill you. Spiders, snakes, Carol Baskin. There's a lot of things on the planet that can kill you. So, this part of the deal, living on a planet where there's viruses and sicknesses and stuff that can kill you. It's just part of the deal.
Yeah, 9/11 was more of a punch in the gut and people got killed from terrorists. I think when this ends, it's going to be more like a breath of like, thank God, let's get out and have some fun,
Yeah, I agree with you. I think
so. Wait, though, Jimmy. I think one thing that I feel is we are all Americans and we're all in this. And this virus doesn't know if you're a Democrat or a Republican or who you voted for. It basically is just like, it doesn't care. And so any of that BS stuff, doesn't happen. So
I think anybody says like, look, stop with the politicizing this stuff. Let's hey, man, I love Trump, hey, whatever. I want the guy to get to the bottom of it, figure it out and solve it. And let's get on with it. I don't care about that stuff. That stuff's stupid and useless in the middle of a pandemic. And it's just distracting. I mean, you watch these, it's like, God, these reporters, they're useless. What do you kind of ask a question? People want to know.
So Jimmy, I disagree with that because basically I feel like you're asked to, right now, if for the last 40 years you do not believe in a reason for government, right, since World War II, this is the greatest country in the world. I believe that wholeheartedly. We responded to a world war that we could have sat out if we wanted to. We went to Germany, we went to Japan, and then we kicked everybody's ass, and then we gave them money through the Marshall Plan to say, here you go. We don't want to stay here. We want you to rebuild. We want you to be parts of a democratic society. We form NATO. We form all this stuff. So everybody looks to us for leadership, and we are not doing it right now. And so all I want is that if you believe that government does not work for the last 40 years, all right, and you also do not believe in science, this is kicking your ass because both of your theories are thrown out the window. So I don't care. Believe in science. I want to hear what the scientists have to say. Tell me when this virus will go on a downward slope. Tell me how we can get there, and I will do it. And this should
but also their models have been.
It's like watching the Stokes trial.
Nostradamus knows, man. Just look for him.
And Quasimodo, too.
Jimmy Schubert does a great Nostradamus if you want to watch.
Yeah, but by the way, dude, their models have been all wrong. They've had to adjust those models 3 and 4 times.
Well, the models are only as good as the information going into them. But
No question about it.
And it's science, Jimmy.
What's that?
It's science. So there's no exact thing, but...
Oh, thank you for setting that up for me. I didn't realize it was science. I took biology. All right, I get it. I know what you're saying. Thank you, Flitty.
What grade did you get?
Hey, Flitty, tell me how I should think and feel. That's why I don't watch TV. I don't want people to tell me how to think and feel. I want to do my own research.
While I got...
No, but whatever you say, I'm a mindless puppet. Tell me what to do.
I'm just talking to you, dude.
No, I know.
Do we have his address and we got to call 911 for him here? What the hell? I mean,
no, it's look. I just think it's ridiculous, man. Like you said, Flynn, there's some of the smartest minds, not only in our country but in the world, working on this.
Yeah.
This is one thing. Look, we all. If this isn't proof, we all live in a giant ecosphere, and what hurts the guy on the other side of the world also hurts me. I mean, this is a wake-up call for people look, you're talking about the species here. Like you said, species doesn't know, Democrat, Republican, black, white, yellow, man, woman. It doesn't care. It wipes out everybody. We're talking about fighting for the survival of the species.
Bob, what was that quote? What was that quote Robert Kennedy said? The pebble, the smallest wave goes out, just the smallest pebble.
You got me there, Joe. I know that.
It goes out there. Bob, you usually know this stuff, so I thought, Carolyn, you would know.
And you're by the water, too. Come on.
Exactly. Hey, while we're all here, we're talking comedy. We lost, speaking of people who have died recently, did not pass because of a problem with the pandemic, but our buddy Vic Henley. And I just want to point out, anybody watching, whether we're live or on tape, you're watching on YouTube after the fact, if you go to Central Park Conservancy, Google them. Yeah. There's an effort underway to endow a plaque on a bench in Central Park, which Vic loved to go to the park and sit. And we're more than halfway to the goal, Central Park Conservancy, to make a contribution towards memorializing Vic and how much he loved. He lived off the park and loved to go there.
Yeah, Bob, I'm so glad that you remembered to mention that because
I'd like to see, we did a couple of weeks ago, we remembered it, but you guys weren't with us. Anybody has a favorite memory of Vic? Just as we in the last couple of minutes here.
I've given mine. I've cried enough, guys. Tom knows him very well. Tom,
Oh man, I don't know. I just every day was just hilarious with him. He was at the comic strip. They have a thing called late night. So if you don't pass the first audition to get in as a regular, they might push you onto the late night list. So you get to come in at the end of the show every night, except on the weekends. They sign up on a piece of paper. And, a lot of the guys who get past probably would never make it as a comic to begin with, 9 out of 10. And the best part was if me and Vic were standing at the bar, he would watch them come in. And every time he wouldn't care, he would just look right at their faces and say, "Here comes the sadness." And the guys would just look at him like, "What's he talking about?" And then he would just go, "Don't worry about it," with that accent. "Don't worry about it, man. You'll see in 5 years. You'll see in 5 years. Here comes the sadness. Here it comes." Just that accent always killed me, man. Oh, I miss him so much. It's crazy.
Yeah, Vic was one of those guys. I mean, I know him over the years. I wasn't as close to him as some of you guys, but I mean, I love talking sports with him, music. I mean, he was and a consummate professional and a great comedian. Just somebody always, a great guy. I never had a bad scene with Vic. He was always just a gentleman, Southern gentleman, and it was just a wonderful human being. I never had a bad vibe with him,
Yeah, the best part was I was telling Flinny that all the tributes on Facebook were always saying how he's the great. He was a sweetheart of a guy. Well, we were laughing about how he never had a mean thing to say, and I told Flinty, yeah, they never sat around with him after like 10 cocktails in him. He could rip, especially talent managers and agents. He could rip them a new, you know what?
No, I know. He wasn't fond of managing.
And right in front of their face too.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying, dude. He never talked bad about a comedian because he always said it right to their face. You know, he said it right to you. Bing. But that's what I love about comedians is that they you know, it's like you can get a callus on your feelings hanging out with comedians. It's almost like busting it's like a form of affection. If a guy's busting your chops, it means he likes you. You only got to worry when they're not busting your chops. You know, I grew up with 6 brothers, so we were always, it's the dozens, and it's a form of affection. Obviously, I grew up in Philadelphia on the East Coast, so that, to me, was always one of those things where it was like, guy liked you if he was good enough to bust your stones for a little bit. It was always, you know, a good sign. You had to wonder when they weren't busting your stones.
Yeah. He's talking behind your back then. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He became my hero the day he told me over lunch that he had once opened for Warren Zevon.
Awesome.
I said, man, that's the ball.
Here's a great quote by Warren Zevon. A great quote to me that Vic told me about that Warren Zevon, who's passed away, and when he was getting ready to die, one of his last appearances on Letterman, he was dying. He said, "I'm dying, Dave." And Warren Zevon said, "You know what? In life, enjoy every sandwich."
Yeah,
that's his album that he has out too, with all the different people doing his songs.
Yeah, enjoy every bite of every sandwich. Or somebody said, yeah, I saw that interview. He said, knowing what you know now, what's the advice you would give to everybody?
There's a great documentary of the last year of his life, of Zevon's life. You see him recording in the studio with Springsteen, see him getting tailored and flying from LA to New York for that last appearance. And Letterman had him do 2 or 3 songs that night. They did the whole deal with it. That's great.
That's a good album, too.
So I have one story about Zevon where when I was doing the warm-up for the Colbert Report, the stage manager had lived with Bruce Springsteen. He was a road manager, and he kind of managed Bruce's personal finances and things. And he said he lived in the house with him. Now, this is a guy who was a stage manager, but he could also play the drums, saxophone, guitar, piano, one of those guys, you know, who could do it all. And he said, he said, I was sitting with Bruce one night because I was sitting with Bruce one night and we're drinking a couple of cocktails and we're just, Bruce has got a guitar on his lap and we're just chilling out, watching some TV. And he goes, all of a sudden, a big cinder block comes flying through the bay window and we both jump up. And Warren Zevon knocks on the door and is like, "You asshole's going to let me in?" And it was Warren Zevon, high as a kite, just played the guitar. They said they partied and played till 5 a.m, you know? And he said Warren Zevon stayed there for a week and a half. And finally Bruce was like, "Do you have a home?"
When Warren died, Bruce was touring, and the song he played that night was "My Ride's Here." Most prophetic. And again, to help out with the Central Park plaque and bench in Vic Henley's memory, Central Park Conservancy. This has been fun. The clock on the clubhouse wall tells us we're out of time. Jimmy Schubert, you got to learn to come out of your shell. Tom Van Horn, I love what you've done with that wall. Carolyn, good luck with the hair. It looks great.
Thank you. Kevin,
get some sleep so your mom says you look good, all right?
Yeah, I want to hear the latest from your mom after this one.
I know. Well, Vic Henley used to call her Miss Kitty. Miss Kitty. Yeah. How's Miss Kitty? And, but for the Nantucket people that know Vic, let's get him a bench on Central Park.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be really nice.
All the time. And I love the man. I've cried many nights about him. So
still doing it.
Thank you, everybody.
That's it for the best medicine. Thanks for being with us on NCTV. We'll see you next week, guys.
See you guys.
Bye-bye. And I'm assuming we're clear.
We can still be live, but I love you guys.